A great way to start your day with all the news, weather, and sports you need. Interesting interviews and friendly conversation from two guys that go together like Scooby and Shaggy. Mike Will and Tyson Havronic.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Huddle Up here on Extreme Sports. It is a Thursday, the 23rd day of January for 2025. Ready to start your day the right way here with all of your news, weather, and sports. Some little friendly conversation as we get you out the door here this morning. Going to be talking about the Nebraska basketball from last night. Huskers losing their fifth straight game to USC and their second consecutive home game after they won 20 games in a row. So the Huskers struggling to say the least. We'll tell you about that coming up. The Nebraska volleyball team is going to be playing some matches at Pinnacle Bank Arena this year. We'll tell you all about that. Hastings High basketball teams going to be in action tonight on the road as they play at Gretna. Pairings have been announced for the Centennial Conference basketball tournament that gets underway next week. Of course, yesterday told you about the Central Conference tournament that will also get underway next week. And the New York Jets, they've got a new head coach here this morning. We'll tell you all about that coming up as we check the sports scene here this morning. As Tyson Havronic is back in the Western Studios this morning as we welcome him in to Thursday morning. Good morning.
Hey, no offense. Appreciate the hospitality in the Eastern Studios yesterday as we had a boo-boo with the old work computer and had to make a last-second audible. But really kind of enjoy just stretching, waking up, putting on some pajama pants, and walking across the hall into the Western Studio. So good to be back home as we continue to roll along on the news side of things. Special guest today. Excited for this one. City Administrator Mark Funke joins us. Got to catch up with him yesterday over in his offices, and so we'll have a replay of that conversation. Yeah, new City Administrator here for Hastings. We'll talk about his road to get into the role. We'll talk a little bit about what his plans are here in the next 5 to 10 years with the role here for the city of Hastings. So lots more to come here on that subject, and we'll continue to dive into what's going on at the state capitol. Is all eyes on there. We had a Senator Lauren Lippincott on the program earlier this week, and with that, there's been kind of an audible from the last time we spoke with him on some of the rules that he was going to propose. So we'll dive into that, and further details have come out on some of the medical marijuana initiatives as the state continues to try to put together its framework to enact the will of the people during the last election cycle. So lots to come on the news front too.
Yeah, you're back in the Western Studios only because your cafeteria over there has morning coffee. We didn't offer that over here in the Eastern Studios yesterday, so you're back home.
It was a rough day. It was a rough start.
Yeah, you got through the morning show without any coffee yesterday.
Somehow, it got pulled along. But yeah, then, went over to the campus to get my computer. It was like 8:30 before I even bumped into a coffee machine, and I'm like, oh, that's too late. That's much too late of a start. My brain doesn't operate until the first cup of coffee goes, so we were just on autopilot yesterday.
The Nebraska basketball team, let's start there. I watched the game last night. I had the night off because the Broncos had their bye week last night, so I got to watch the entire thing. Nebraska is going to be lucky to get in to the Big Ten Conference Tournament. Not everybody qualifies, remember, right, for the Big Ten Conference Tournament. The Huskers could be on the outside looking in, which means it's to the NIT. We might be a good NIT team. Maybe, I wouldn't say good. I'd say we're going to be an average NIT team. The Huskers have now lost 5 straight games. At one time, we were 12-2.
12-2.
12-2 at one point. You were lobbying to get the Huskers into the top 25 not long ago. Since then, we've lost 5 games in a row. Last night, the Huskers were a 6.5-point favorite over USC, and we lose the game by 5 points. 78-73, the final last night at PBA.
It's weird to me because where'd it go? you flash back and you go on the road to South Dakota, taking on a very good St. Mary's team, a team that in that Western Coastal Conference with Gonzaga, kind of one of those sneaky 10 seeds that always seems to have their spot in the Sweet 16. You're able to pick up the big win against Creighton. You knock off another
UCLA.
top 25 team, and UCLA. Thank you for that. I just don't know where it went. I don't know. Did the book get written on us in terms of how to defend and how to stifle our offense a little bit? Wondering if we were tipping something, but it just seems like we're backpedaling right now. And when you're trying hard to get out of a rut in a situation, and you're only digging yourself in deeper. 5 games skid. We got to turn this thing around. And I don't know what the issue is. Scoring droughts, turnovers. It appears to be something different every game.
Last night, we turned the ball over right at the end.
Yeah.
Maybe had a chance to tie the game late at the end, and seconds to go, we throw the ball into the second row of the bleachers.
Yeah.
We've got to Fred Hoiberg coming up later on in the show. We'll hear a little bit from his post-game news conference from last night. But, the Huskers, I don't think we're going anywhere soon unless we turn things around. We've got 18th ranked Wisconsin on the road on Sunday. That's our next game.
Oh, fun.
So that's not going to be easy. The Huskers have lost their last 3 games on the road and have not looked real good in a couple of those games. So, I don't know where the turning point's going to be. Anyway, the Huskers losing last night to USC 78-73. Only good thing that happened last night at PBA, some dude comes out of the stands.
Oh, I saw that.
In a contest, and he wins a new Porsche.
Yeah.
He hits a golf ball, the full court, into this tiny little hole at the end of the court. I looked at it and said, how did he do that? Mm-hmm. He putted this the full length of the court, and the opening in this place that he had to fire the thing in had to be like a normal golf hole. And he had to put it in from the full court, and he won a brand new Porsche.
And it was a beauty. Like, it never deviated off course. It didn't, curve back into the... I mean, it was a straight shot from the word go.
Obviously, PBA's floor is absolutely straight.
Oh, yeah. Right? And he hit it beautifully. And then he even did the little tiger fist pump at the end. And then got the keys. If you haven't seen it, I mean, it's circulating on social media. I was wondering what the hell I was watching when I'm just seeing there Herbie laying on the floor watching something go across the floor. And then I'm like, oh, that's a golf ball. Oh, that's going in the hole. Oh, it's in.
And the guy wins a Porsche.
Yeah. So
now, what would you do? What would you do with a Porsche?
Sell it.
Yeah, I probably would too. I don't need to drive around in a Porsche. Can you imagine the car insurance on a Porsche?
Yep.
And the taxes that you got to get the thing licensed.
I turn around and no offense to Porsche owners, I would immediately sell the damn thing.
I couldn't afford to put the tags on it and to pay the car insurance. I don't need to drive around in a Porsche.
No.
But who are you going to sell that to?
Porsche enthusiasts.
And how many of those you got running around central Nebraska?
Couple.
Oh, I doubt it.
Oh, a couple. They're probably here in town.
Couple of Porsche people.
Yeah, there's Porsche people.
Yeah, I'd sell that thing. I wouldn't even take delivery of the damn thing.
It would be the immediate turnaround.
Yeah.
I would grab the keys. I'm like, hey, I've got these keys.
I got this Porsche for sale.
Who's got some cash? Just take the cash some.
Anyway, this guy was a brand new Porsche last night. The only good thing that happened in the game last night.
Little E chiming in on the Huskers. I think
already?
I think there is a locker room issue that has poisoned the team. Don't know what, but seems to be an issue.
Locker room issue
inside the locker room.
Well, when you go on a losing streak like this,
5 games,
guys start pointing fingers at one another.
Yep.
They don't get along, and that's what happens. Freddie Boy's got to get things under control, or we could go south in a hurry.
I mean, we're there.
Oh, we're not there yet.
It's gone south. It's not good. You can't lose 5 in a row, especially ones that you got to have. USC last night, that was a have to have. So you got to pick up you go back to that formula, right? Now you've got a couple minuses in there, and you had one that you had to have. Now you got to pick up a +1 somewhere, and that +1's got to be Wisconsin.
Yeah, the Huskers are going to have to win on the road, and we have shown no ability to win on the road.
Bingo.
We've lost 3 in a row, and now we're going to tell this team that they go out and got to go on a winning streak on the road. Not going to happen.
Yeah, got to pick up some pluses.
So, yeah, with the formula from last week.
And last week we were sitting even.
Yeah, we're even now. We've lost.
We're not even anymore.
No, we're under. And that's not a good sign of a team that's going to go anywhere.
We don't want to be under.
So, anyway, there's still a long way to go, but we keep saying that. Every damn loss we take, we keep saying that there's a long way to go. Well, pretty soon, we're going to be at the end of the season, and we're not in the Big Ten tournament.
Guess what?
Then what?
Heart of the conference tournament, or heart of the conference season, well underway. Conference tournament taking place probably in a month's time. Then we move on to March. So I'm getting set. Did find the funny. You mentioned the Jets coach. Oh, I'll get to the Jets coach in a minute.
Yeah.
But had a funny yesterday that got sent to me. Talking about the Dallas Cowboys. If there's any Dallas Cowboys fans out there, apologize. Not really. Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, 2 quarterbacks in the NFC Championship. They have been born, grown up in life, went to college, became professional athletes, and still made the NFC Championship game before the Dallas Cowboys. Last time Dallas was in was 95, right?
Yeah.
95, 96, somewhere around there. So
right now they don't have a coach.
Yeah. You want to feel old? Know that Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts have been born, raised, college, and now NFC Championship quarterbacks, and Dallas hasn't been back since. That'll make you feel old.
Yesterday we talked about the New York Jets and their head coaching search.
And I believe you were quoted as saying they would be the last team to find a head coach.
Well, shortly after the show yesterday, guess what?
8:05.
Yeah, 8:05. 8:05. Detroit Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn says, hell, he'll take the job. Why not? He played for the Jets from 94 to 2001. He made 2 Pro Bowls. After 15 seasons as a player on 5 different teams, he returned to the Jets as a personnel scout in 2012 and 2013. He then went into coaching. He was an assistant coach for the Browns and the Saints before landing in Detroit on Dan Campbell's staff as the defensive coordinator in 2021. He inherits a team that went 5-12 last season and missed the playoffs for the 14th straight season.
And currently has a quarterback that's going off on a journey of self-discovery and figuring out if he wants to go. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not an Aaron Glenn hater. I don't hate the move. But was his defense really that great in Detroit?
No, they just outscored people.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, those who went after and got the offensive piece of the Detroit Dan Campbell puzzle, they're sitting pretty. I wasn't that impressed at any point during the season with this defense, and suddenly he's rising to the top just because he's on the staff of a stellar Detroit football team. I wasn't that impressed.
Does that surprise you about the Jets organization?
Not really.
No, they go after this guy because he was with the Detroit Lions, and the Lions were pretty good. Well, we can't get the offensive coordinator. Let's get the defensive coordinator. Yeah, I'm with you. It's not like Detroit really stopped anybody all year. They just outscored everybody.
All right. Well, half of the defense apparently was hurt most of the year. This is the Jets fan defense, by the way, so take it as it is.
Okay.
He said he called it last week for Aaron Glenn. And half the defense was hurt, so give him a little slack. I don't know. Like I said, watching Detroit this year, and when I say watching Detroit, I mean watching Red Zone, which means I get whatever offensive highlights you see. And so it's not like I'm putting eyeballs on Detroit's defense 24/7. But from what I saw, I wasn't overly impressed with their defense. Even when you flash back to that Thanksgiving game, right? They build that lead up against the Chicago Bears, and then in the second half, Chicago slowly kind of comes back into that football game, has an opportunity to win it. They didn't close anybody out. They just outscored you. That was kind of the Detroit MO.
Aaron Glenn is probably most well known on the football field. He was the quarterback back in the 1990s. Remember when Dan Marino came up to the line of scrimmage and was going to spike the ball, and then they ran a play, and I think the Dolphins beat the Jets in that, was it a playoff game or something back then? Marino threw a touchdown when he was coming up to the line of scrimmage and looked like he was going to spike the ball. Well, Aaron Glenn, he was the cornerback on that play for the Jets.
Yep.
That was
fake spike.
Yeah, that was back in the 90s sometime.
Yeah, I'd have to restart the memory bank on that one, but
Well, you played for the Jets from 94 to 2001, so it had to be probably in the late 90s.
in my wheelhouse. Yep.
So yeah, he was on the field for that.
There you go.
So anyway, he takes over a team that's 5-12 last year and has a quarterback that's going to go into the dark room again to decide if he wants to play again.
Best of luck to the Jets and Aaron Glenn.
Notre Dame defensive coordinator Al Golden is returning to the Cincinnati Bengals as their defensive coordinator.
Okay.
It'll be a Golden second stint on Zach Taylor's staff. He was evidently Cincinnati's linebackers coach in 2020, 2021. Then he moved to Notre Dame to be the defensive coordinator for the Fighting Irish. He's now coming back to Cincinnati to be the D coordinator for Zach Taylor and the Cincinnati Bengals.
And God knows the Bungles could use all the coaching help that they could get. Loads and loads and loads of talent. And
Missed the playoffs.
missed the playoffs. Fell flat. Denver got in. Good God. Denver was a playoff team this year.
402-834-1330 is our telephone number. If you'd like to join us, anything is sports related or not, anything that's on your mind this morning, give us a call. We'd love to chat with you here on the Huddle Up here today on Extreme Sports. If you want to drop us a message, you can. Lots of people in the lobby today. So what's on your mind as you head to the breakfast table here this morning? Give us a quick comment if you would. I ran across this before we get to our news break.
Sure.
The 15 most hated fan bases
Wow.
in the NFL.
15?
15 of them. I don't know if we have to go through all 15, but
Probably
I wrote down all 15. The
Okay.
15 most hated fan bases in the NFL.
Eagles are number one.
Eagles are included in the top 15. They are not number one.
Wow. I thought everybody hated Philly. Is it the Raiders fan base?
Raiders are in the top 15. They are not number one.
Yep. Probably Cowboys then, right?
The Cowboys are in the top 15, and they are the most hated team in the NFL fan base survey. Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys number one on the list.
Okay.
New England is second. Philadelphia third. Kansas City is fourth.
Probably just because everyone's sick and tired of winning.
Oh, they don't like Mahomes. That's what I read in a little summary that they had. They don't like Mahomes.
So they take it out on their fans?
Yeah.
Come on.
Fan base.
Come on.
Well, the rest of the fan base in America thinks we're arrogant. You see, Chiefs fans are arrogant because we win all the time, and Mahomes.
Yeah, that's a word. That's a word we could use.
Yep. Pittsburgh is number 5 on the list,
Sure.
followed by the Raiders, the Packers,
What?
the Jets. San Francisco is 9. The New York Giants are number 10.
Okay.
Do I need to go further?
Are my Bills on there, or
Yep.
people love us?
No. Baltimore is 11.
Okay.
Washington 12. Buffalo 13.
Why? We don't bother anybody.
Rams are 14. Cincinnati is 15.
We're like the most Canadian fan base ever. We're just polite, and we don't bother, and we jump through tables.
They probably don't like your quarterback either, Zach
They don't
Allen.
like our quarterback, so they take it out on our fan base.
Yep. The 15 most hated fan bases in the NFL. Dallas, number 1 on the list. That doesn't surprise me. That didn't surprise me at all.
Chief Endorf chiming in on the Pittsburgh Steelers fan base. He goes, we're only in the top 5 because opposing teams don't like the fact that the Steelers fans travel so well. And that's a proven fact. I've known Chief Endorf to go to a couple Steelers games on the road. So
Really?
he loves to travel with the Steelers.
Which is dangerous sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, the Chiefs aren't going to go out to Vegas and
Why
fuck
not?
around.
Isn't
Well,
that-
they do. They
isn't
do,
that the
but
whole reason that Vegas got a team in the first place?
yeah. But it's kind of dangerous out there.
You think we're in? I think it's dangerous.
No, Denver fans. Maybe this is a better scenario.
Sure.
Maybe this is a better scenario.
Chargers, Raiders, Denver, Chiefs.
Yeah, Denver fans coming into Arrowhead.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. Kansas City Chiefs going out to Mile High or whatever it's called nowadays. Maybe that's a better scenario.
I don't. It is, but it isn't. And I see videos all the time of like people just getting punched in the face by the opposing fan base. A couple rules when you're at a game, especially if you're going to an opposing team stadium to go support your team, because I do this with the Cardinals all the time.
Don't look like a nerd and act like a nerd.
But don't get yourself so intoxicated that you make an ass of yourself, and don't pick the fight. Sit there, be polite, talk football, talk baseball. You get involved with their other team, saying, "Yeah, supporter just here, but got
I wouldn't wear an opposing. Jersey or shirt into another stadium.
Cards Cubs, like a Cubs fan.
Well, baseball's a little different.
A little bit, but it's not at the same time.
Football fans seem to be rowdy. They get drunk in the stands, and you got young people wanting to start a fight. Baseball fans, you sit down, watch the game.
You haven't watched a baseball game.
You get your beer, you get your couple of hot dogs, and you have nice little friendly conversation with Martha and Joe, who happens to be sitting beside you this week.
I don't know.
Do you get rowdy at a baseball game?
You can.
I know you can, but do you?
Personally, no.
No, you sit down and you
But
have
I do the same thing in a football game. I'm not there to get
in a fight,
wound up and get in a fight and start
threatening people.
Yeah. Don't be. Red's rules to live by, right? From that 70s show. I use these a lot during winter driving season. Don't be a dumbass. There's really easy ways to not get in a fight at a football game. Number one is don't be a dumbass.
Yeah, nobody else is looking to get in a fight with you.
Right. You don't go to a game
and say, I'm going to get in a fight today.
Pay top dollar to get tickets to this game and go make an ass of yourself. And the last time that I had some guy that was it was a Kansas City fan, a Royals fan, and it was Cardinals Royals I-70 series. I went to Kauffman Stadium, and he was behind us, and we had Cardinals stuff on, and he was running his mouth and running his mouth and running his mouth, and he had been progressively drinking more and more as the game went along, and I just got up and left. We went and we toured the stadium. We watched the game from the water fountains, the balcony.
You had enough?
I didn't turn around and agitate the guy and make the situation worse. But here's the thing, there's plenty of cheaper ways to get drunk.
Yeah,
than go to a baseball game. So whatever. If that guy if that was his MO and that was his prerogative, I wasn't going to turn around to security and be like, hey, get this your own fan out of your own stadium. No, I'll just walk around and explore other parts of this beautiful ballpark.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you didn't escalate things.
Older, wiser.
Yeah. Now, 10 years ago, you might have not done that.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm proud of you, bud. 7:24, waking up with Mike and Tyson here this morning on Huddle Up on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning news update on Extreme Sports.
News on Huddle Up this hour brought to you in part by the Hastings Federal Credit Union, where they've been lighting the way to financial success since 1946. Hastings Federal Credit Union, proud to be your trusted long-term financial partner. As a nonprofit financial cooperative, the credit union is owned by the members who join. And joining, well, it's as simple as opening a primary savings account. Committed to providing the highest level of quality services, the credit union provides those banking services to all those living or working in Adams, Clay, Webster, Nuckolls, Thayer, and Fillmore counties. And with affordable loan rates, mobile banking, and a friendly staff that treats you like family, why would you go anywhere else? Hastings Federal Credit Union, 707 North Marion Road, or online hastingsfcu.org. Hastings Federal Credit Union is an equal housing lender. We'll head over to the state capitol, where this week State Senator Lauren Lippincott of Central City, and first state senator to be a guest on this show, said his Rules Committee would not be recommending a proposal to lower the number of votes required to end a filibuster. Lippincott said even though he personally favors the 3/5 rule he talked about on the show, there's not enough support to make the change. Meanwhile, more details on legislation being introduced that will provide the framework for medical marijuana in Nebraska after being approved overwhelmingly by voters during the last election. Senator Daniel Conrad's bill that we briefly touched on yesterday would make marijuana available upon a recommendation by a healthcare practitioner, would be restricted to people 18 and under, except in special circumstances, and could not be used in places including schools, child care centers, and motor vehicles, and could be restricted or prohibited by employers. Another proposal would specify the requirements for dispensaries, as well as impose a 4% sales tax. And that is a look on your local news here this morning. As we head over to the state capitol, we turn things back over here at 7:26 to find out what's going on with sports. Mike,
well, Juwan Gary's career-high 27 points was not enough as the Nebraska men's basketball team lost to USC 78-73 last night at Pinnacle Bank Arena. After 20 straight wins, the Huskers have now lost their last 2 games at home. Bryce Williams added 17 points, while Connor Segan added 15 off of the bench. Nebraska has now lost 5 games in a row. They are 12-7 on the season, 2-6 in the conference. They'll play at 18th-ranked Wisconsin on Sunday. Tip-off will be at noon on BTN. The Nebraska volleyball team will play at Pinnacle Bank Arena for the first time. The Huskers will play Pittsburgh in the season-opening AVCA First Serve Showcase hosted by Nebraska this August. Pittsburgh was the number 1 ranked team most of the season and advanced to the NCAA Final Four this year. Nebraska played the Panthers in the national semifinals in 2023. The Huskers will play 2 matches during this event, which is scheduled for August 22nd through the 24th. The full list of teams participating will be announced in early February. Hastings High basketball teams will play at Gretna tonight. The boys are 8-6 on the season. After last week's 60-56 win over McCook, the girls are 4-10 after losing to the Bison 48-35. Game times will be at 5:30 and at 7:15 tonight. Pairings have been announced for the Centennial Conference basketball tournament that gets underway next week. The St. Cecilia girls are the number 5 seed and will play at Aquinas Catholic on Tuesday at 5:30. The St. Cecilia boys are the number 11 seed and will play at Archbishop Bergen on Monday at 7:15. The Lincoln Christian girls and the Grand Island Central Catholic boys are the number 1 seeds. And the Central Conference tournament will also get underway next week. The Adams Central girls will play Crete on Tuesday at 5:30, followed by the Adams Central boys against Columbus Lakeview at 7 o'clock. That's a check on your sports headlines. 7:28 now on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning weather update on Extreme Sports with Chief Meteorologist Tim Jones.
The cold front on Wednesday that passed through that brought us the snow showers is bringing us slightly cooler weather today on Thursday. Hey everybody, Tim Jones, Nebraska Weather TV. 26 is the high today. Under a partly sunny sky, we'll have a few scattered flurries and north-northwest winds 10 to 15 with gusts to 25. Overnight tonight, we dip down into the low teens with the chilly start to Friday, but we have plenty of sunshine. 44 degrees is the high on Friday, less wind, and 30s through the weekend. That's Check Your Forecast.
Right now, north winds 8 miles per hour, partly cloudy, 16 in Hastings at Extreme Sports.
Accessible and affordable holistic care is just around the corner at Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center. Located at 208 South Burlington Avenue, Suite 101 in Hastings. At Bamboo Spa, we offer a range of therapies to help you unwind and recharge. Experience soothing massages, rejuvenating head spa scalp treatments, and our Advanced Glow 2 facials. Discover the healing power of ozone therapy and frequency healing. Become a member for exclusive 24-hour access to our therapeutic amenities, including the infrared sauna, hydro massage, and cryo lounge. Members enjoy 20% off all services and 10% off products in our non-toxic retail shop. Visit our Facebook page to learn more and book your appointment today. Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center, truly holistic care designed for you.
I'm John Butler, funeral director and owner at Livingston Butler Volland Funeral Home and Cremation Center in Hastings.
And I'm Nikki Butler, the advanced funeral planning specialist. Whether you choose a traditional service, cremation, or a unique memorial service, our experienced staff is here to help guide you through every step. Visit us at lbvfh.com to learn more about our services and how we can support you.
Livingston Butler Volland Funeral Home and Cremation Center. We are here when your need is greatest.
Hamilton has been providing IT solutions for businesses across the state of Nebraska for more than 3 decades. We know that Nebraska businesses are a driving force of support for the communities in which we live and work. We keep them connected and protected by delivering cybersecurity, hosted phones, and managed IT. We are grateful to be part of our Nebraska communities and to support their technology needs.
More information at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Extreme Sports has been bringing you the exclusive home of Hastings College Athletics, and we're just getting started. Thanks to our incredible sponsors and your support, Extreme Sports 2 has been a huge success, and now we're excited to announce the launch of Extreme Sports 3. With Extreme Sports 3, you'll get even more local sports coverage. Plus, 24/7 access to Sports by Line, where you'll hear the best in national sports talk. Whether it's Hastings College, high school action, or the latest from around the sports world, we've got it covered across all 3 streams. And don't forget, when we're not broadcasting games, join us weekday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. for Huddle Up with Mike Will and Tyson Havronik. It's the perfect way to start your day with sports, news, weather, and great local interviews. So tune in, check out all 3 streams, and stay with us for even more sports coverage coming soon. Thank you to our sponsors for making it all possible, and to you, our listeners, for keeping Extreme Sports strong.
All right, Mike Will, Tyson Havronik with you on Huddle Up on Extreme Sports for this Thursday, the 23rd of January. As you wake up, get going here this morning. Again, thanks for joining us, whether you're listening to us on our website, x-streamsports.com, on your smartphone, with our free mobile app, smart speaker, Roku TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you are. Thanks for joining us here. Leave us a message if you'd like on any of the social media sites. We're monitoring those. If you want to give us a call, we'd love to chat with you. 402-834-1330 is our telephone number. Ryan Martin has chimed in. Evidently, Kansas, they got a big game tonight?
Saturday.
Oh, Saturday.
They are playing Saturday at 5:30 at the Allen Fieldhouse. Game will be televised on ESPN. 12th-ranked Kansas taking on 7th-ranked Houston, as Houston has cracked their way into the top 10. Pivotal Big 12 showdown there between the Cougars and the Jayhawks.
Yeah, Kansas outside the top 10, number 12 right now.
Kansas picked up a big win last night against TCU, and looking on the outside of the top 10. So big opportunity big opportunity to make a step forward against Houston at home. You know, the Jayhawk faithful will bring it.
They'll be all right by the end of the year.
One team that's not all right, that currently is sitting minus, Nebraska. Talked a little bit about them. Struggles on the road, and now some struggles at home, and some struggles against Big Ten foe. find themselves in the midst of a 5-game losing streak.
Yeah, and the coach talked after the ball game last night, and he says obviously disappointed with a loss, and there's going to be a way to break out of this 5-game losing streak.
The biggest thing now, we got to find a way to steal a couple on the road, and we got some really good opportunities in front of us, very difficult tasks, but we have to stay together. When you're on a streak like we are right now, the human nature is to start questioning and to separate a little bit, but we have to find a way to stay together through this tough time. And, hopefully get this thing reversed soon. We're going into one of the most difficult places to play in the league on Sunday, and a team that's really clicking right now. This USC team's a really talented team. We knew this was going to be a tough game. Muss does a great job. They found a formula. We tried to counter with a matchup on the other end, went back and forth. They made the plays at the end when they had to.
And the coach says it really comes down to toughness.
We're playing hard. There's no doubt about that. We are giving effort right now. I thought offense, when you look at our percentages, we didn't shoot the 3 well, but we were unbelievably efficient inside the arc tonight. Jawan's attack, when he played off 2 feet, when he played under control. I didn't like the turnovers early. I thought that led to some pick 6 baskets for them. I think they got 3 of them, and that gives a team confidence. And, for us, we got to be perfect. We got to come out. We got to play under control. We got to get a shot up on the glass, whether it goes in or not, so we can get our defense set. When you give them free baskets on the other end, it just does so much for a team's confidence. We guarded the 3 really well in the first half. I think they were 0 for 9. And, the AG came in and he got it going a little bit for him. But, I'm going to go back and watch it tonight. There's going to be some positives on there. But the thing that really stings is, what I know I'll see is we had a chance to finish possessions that we didn't get.
And the coach says losing is frustrating.
Anytime you lose, it's frustrating as hell. You gotta find a way to bounce back. Again, you just keep trying to take steps. We took steps in a lot of things tonight, but again, it all comes down to loose balls and toughness.
So the Huskers dropping the one last night to USC at home. We've lost 2 games in a row at home, 3 games in a row on the road. We're sitting at 12-7 on the season, 2-6 in the conference. They'll play at 18th ranked Wisconsin on Sunday, 12 o'clock noon for the tip-off. You can see it on BTN.
Toughness is part of it, but and the other part, just replaying and rewinding the tape back. Obviously, throw Purdue and Michigan State out the window. We didn't have a chance in hell in those games, and we'd never step foot on the court. But you look at Iowa, you look at USC. Execution in the final minutes of the game. The other teams are executing in the final moments when you're trying to close an opponent out, when you're trying to put a win in the win column, and you're in those pivotal moments. The other teams are executing, and we're not.
Yeah,
you mentioned throwing the ball into the second row.
Yeah, second row of the bleachers on the last possession.
Can't have it.
And that was coming. I think that was even coming out of a. No, it wasn't coming out of a timeout. Huskers were out of timeout, so
gotta execute in the waning moments of a ball game if you want to be a player in the Big Ten, especially now with the implementation of some of these premier schools from the Pac-12 coming over into the Big Ten. You're gonna get everybody every night. And you got to be able to execute. And right now, we're not executing.
18th ranked Wisconsin next up, again on Sunday. By the way, Hastings College basketball this weekend. The Broncos will play at Waldorf, which is clear up there. Mm-hmm. We're up toward Minnesota and within a couple of 100 miles of the Canadian border.
Oh,
just a quick little road trip this weekend. I got my travel plans yesterday. Normally, I travel just with us. Yep. On a trip like this, I usually travel with the team, and I got my travel plans yesterday.
Itinerary?
They're leaving right during this show.
Well, that's not good.
So tomorrow, I'm giving you the day off.
No show tomorrow?
No, we're not going to be here tomorrow because I'll be in my bus.
I'll take an extra day.
I know you would. I knew you wouldn't be disappointed.
I'll sleep in.
I knew you wouldn't be disappointed.
I could potentially solo show, but nobody wants to watch this thing solo for 60 minutes.
They don't want to listen to you for 60 minutes.
That's a long time. My students don't want to listen to me for 60 minutes, so,
So I'll just give you the day off.
That'll work.
You think of me when you wake up tomorrow.
And you're in Forest City, Iowa, or traveling to Forest City,
I don't
Iowa.
really know why we're leaving this early. I don't know if we're going to be on some sightseeing journeys or what.
Is there sights to see?
Between here, I've been up there before. I really didn't have any place that I needed to stop and see.
Uh-huh.
But evidently, the bus driver thinks that we need to stop and see some place. I don't know why we're leaving early.
Maybe they're stopping at your wing joint.
Probably not.
Where you're getting your boneless wings.
No, I wouldn't get boneless wings, number one. So, yeah, I don't know. Someplace between here and Forest City, Iowa, maybe we're stopping. I bet we practice somewhere tomorrow, I imagine. It's on the itinerary. But we're leaving early. The bottom line is no show tomorrow because I'll be on my way to Forest City, Iowa tomorrow. Wanted to get that out of the way early.
Yeah, programming note.
Programming notes. Let's see what else. I told you about the conference basketball tournaments getting underway next week. St. Cecilia and the Centennial Conference basketball tournament. They'll get started with the boys early on Monday. Then Adams Central will be in the Central Conference tournament, and they'll be on the floor for the first time on Tuesday. We'll have the Adams Central games for you next Tuesday night here on Extreme Sports. The girls playing Crete, the boys playing Columbus Lakeview, 5:30 and 7. Adams Central will be hosting the semifinal games. Nice. Then on Thursday and Friday, and then the championship games and the consolation games, they're going to go to Columbus Lakeview on Saturday. So that's the way they do their tournament. The Centennial Conference, they will play at sites, the highest seed, all the way until Saturday when they play their championship games at Lincoln Lutheran. So that's the way that's where the ball bounces next week. Conference tournament time. This is kind of like the second phase of basketball season for high school teams. Then they play a couple of more regular season games, and guess what? By mid-February, we're in the postseason play.
Yeah, you've if you take it and you put it in terms of a horse track, I know we got a lot of racing fans here on the show. You're now past the back stretch.
Oh yeah,
and you're hitting your stride on the far turn. And this is that turn 3 to turn 4 heading for home. I always take basketball season and I put it into thirds. We've entered into the second third of the basketball season before we slam on the accelerator, and then it's just a roller coaster until St. Patrick's Day. So welcome to the home stretch.
Well, which is good because once we get to the home stretch, it's usually spring.
I love that.
It's usually spring.
I love that, and it's always like a roller coaster, right? It just when you're climbing, you get to the very top, and then it's like whoosh, and that's how it feels from the sports broadcast perspective. Like you're just going down like the world's biggest roller coaster, and then by the time it comes back up, ooh, it's warm outside.
Yeah, we'll do like
time to go do spring stuff.
We'll go do like a jillion games between now and the middle part of March, and then when everything's all done, it's just. You take a deep breath, and by the way, it's now baseball season. Baseball and softball season.
Yep.
Speaking, cold weather and stuff like that, did you see where the Southeast had snow?
Yeah.
Down in Florida, and not just a dusting of snow. They had like 8 or 9 inches down in Florida. Hell, Florida right now has got more snow on the ground than we do.
Louisiana?
Yeah, Louisiana. New Orleans had a bunch of snow.
An Arctic vortex that went through the South, and that's it's not very common. And quite frankly, those guys in the South, I mean, there's a lot to take in when you have winter weather in the South. And we all kind of say, oh, look at these guys just being unprepared. Their weather...
Well, they're not used to it.
They're not used to it. And it's built different. Like, pipes and things with the soil, like a lot of that ground is hard as concrete, and you can't do like natural. So the pipes freeze up. It's just a mess when they have nasty weather down there in the South. And from the driving perspective, they're not used to it.
No, the city's not equipped to handle it either.
They don't have plows.
No, they don't have any plows down in
plows
Florida.
From the Midwest, yeah.
So yeah, that's a mess down there. So Florida's got more snow than we do. That's amazing.
I did see a good sign from like the Louisiana Department of Transportation, where they had like, you know, the road signs like Nebraska State Patrol will put out every now and then. Although I think they're doing that a lot less because it's actually more distracting to stare at the road signs and the clever quips that they come up with. But the Louisiana Department of Transportation had one that said like, unless you're from Nebraska,
yeah,
it's cold. That. It's cold.
I saw that. Ryan Martin chimes in. Solo. Evidently, he wants me to drive to.
No,
force.
he wants me to roll the show tomorrow.
Oh.
Roll the show solo tomorrow.
You know what we could do? Ryan Martin could join you.
There you go.
He knows enough about sports.
Just pipe in the conversation.
He could hang out with you if he wants to do that.
Could.
Or
I could also sleep in.
You could sleep in, one of the two.
Ryan.
Anyway,
help a brother out, Ryan.
7:45, waking up with Mike and Tyson here this morning on Huddle Up. You went on a journey yesterday. You had a chance to dive into the news scene. Met up with our brand new city administrator.
That's right. Mark Funke, new city administrator, took over as the assistant city administrator a year ago, and my goodness, what a whirlwind it's been. A lot of events that have taken place, and new administration, and next thing you know, he gets handed the keys to the city administration offices, and we kind of recap his journey to not only get to the post, but now that he's there, what his plans are here for the future in the office. It's Central Nebraska's newest morning show, Huddle Up. Tyson Havronik with you, joined in the city offices today as we take a quick tour and visit the city administrative offices. And pleased to be joined by Hastings new city administrator Mark Funke, who joins us on the program. And first of all, Mark, appreciate the time. It was great to catch up beforehand with you, and congratulations on the new role. But let's first start by just talking a little bit about the process to getting this stage and kind of a whirlwind for you in the last year, from the assistant city administrator position to lo and behold a transition to get you into this new role as a Hastings city administrator. Talk maybe just a little bit about the last year and what you were able to learn in your previous role of assistant city administrator and how you've transitioned now into this new role.
Great, thanks. It has been, I think whirlwind is probably the right word. My transition from Nebraska to Virginia to take on a vice presidency and then to kind of move back into kind of a different arena, moving from higher ed into municipal government. I was really honored to kind of feel trusted enough to allow my experiences in other ways to help benefit the city. So I brought a lot of those skills here. But really had a learning curve, right, to learn about the different departments. Some of what helped is I've had jobs in the past where I've served multiple different departments that were doing different things, so that wasn't foreign to me. And then learning more about how each different department works, what I really learned is we have really excellent staff here and really great department heads that are supporting everything that's going on. Which made that transition from higher ed to municipal government a lot more smooth than it may have been for some folks. And then I really had the good fortune of, working with a city administrator in Sean Metcalf that had some experience, and he gave me opportunity to kind of oversee 6 departments, and then I got involved in a lot of different things. To learn about all of the different departments and things that were going on. So I was really working hard to ingrain myself in the community more, get back into the flow of all of that, and then also learn about all the different departments and how things were working. So while it came as a surprise with all of the turmoil and everything, I really came to work one morning. I'd been working, and then the next thing I know, I'm being asked to be an interim or acting city administrator at that time. And it was a quick transition, and obviously we had some big focus areas at that point with the budget kind of being the main thing. And so I went from kind of a quiet Thursday afternoon to working on a lot of budget presentation stuff and trying to meet the needs and expectations of the mayor and council at the time. And then really it just became a situation of learning, continuing to learn, and to get more involved in a lot of different things. to make sure that I could support all of the different departments more fully where there was some divide and conquer before that point. So fortunately, I had really good support from the departments that I've been overseeing, and they were functioning at a very high level. So it allowed me some freedom to get involved with some other things. And then once we got to the place of, the potential of becoming the official city administrator, it was kind of a benefit that I moved into that interim role and had about 3 months sort of on the job to kind of see what this looked like. And I was pretty honest with people, like I didn't know what the future would hold. And so I didn't want to just sit idly by and not do things, because I didn't think that really was a good representation of my skill set and what I might be able to do if the job became mine. But I also didn't want to just throw the baby out with the bathwater and like take over like this was, this is my job and I'm going to change everything. That there seemed to be a place in the middle there that I tried to land to be able to support, grow, keep things moving forward, but not, wholesale change all kinds of things. So it's really been a rewarding process. I'm very honored that, the mayor and council coming in, especially the new folks, building relationships really quickly and trying to showcase, who I am and how I've been operating, opening up lines of communication with the old and new council. I think those things benefited in a lot of ways, that it gave them some comfort with me as a person and with my skill set to allow me the opportunity to kind of take this on full time.
Again, City Administrator Mark Funke joining us here on Huddle Up this morning as we discuss his new role here with the City of Hastings and some of his visions now moving forward. And you mentioned a little bit about just the timing of all of this. The timing of this all comes when we were having a shift on the administrative change and a shift on the council side of things with an election. Talk about your recent interactions with some of the new leaders, the new mayor and some new council members, and how those interactions have been here in the first couple weeks.
Sure. So I'll start with the mayor. Mayor Beckby has really proven to be high energy. He is really actively engaged. Anytime there's a major transition through an election or those kind of things, there's uncertainty with folks. And so some of the staff, to be honest, we've had lots of conversations and people were just uncertain because, election rhetoric and politics and all those kind of things are what they are. And you never know exactly what you're going to get until you get a chance to start to meet folks. So the mayor has done a great job of really trying to meet a lot of us. I've tried to facilitate a lot of conversations with staff. I mentioned to you kind of before we got started, like with our public information officer, those kinds of conversations, just so he can learn more about what they do, address any questions, problems he may have that he's seeing with, certain things going on in the community that maybe is, a development services project, and if he has, things that he's heard and wants to know more information. And he's done a great job of kind of bringing those concerns forward, having a great conversation, and then understanding kind of where we're at and then helping to move the conversation forward. And likewise with the new council, they've been pretty active and engaged. That's probably the word, engaged is probably the word I would use for all of them, is they really want to do a good job. And even if they have questions or concerns, we're trying to respond to those things quickly to ease their minds so they can get back to citizens that maybe are asking questions. And really just try to support them through this learning process. Serving on city council, I think there's a vision of what it is, and then you get on the other side of the microphone and the voting button, and things look a little different. And so we want to support them and make sure that they have all the resources so that they can make informed decisions and do the job to the best of their ability.
Again, talking with City Administrator Mark Funke this morning here on Huddle Up as we discuss kind of all things City of Hastings government related here on the program this morning. As far as the engagement with city government and the citizens of Hastings, about a year ago, we
had a city administrator program where we talked with the city administrators from the Tri-Cities, and the ongoing effort in terms of communication and engagement and in transparency. I know those were very important principles of the previous city administrator and city administrators up in Grand Island as well. Where does that rank kind of on your chart, and how? What's your plan to kind of follow along in those footsteps?
Sure, that's a great question. So, for me, I'm a big proponent of transparency. It's one of the things that's sort of, one of the legs of my stool as far as who I am as a leader. And honestly, our new mayor is very interested in being very transparent. So, all of those same initiatives that were being installed by the previous city administrator, we're trying to continue on with those things. Our Engage Hastings page and reaching out in social media, trying to do more press releases, all those kind of ways to try to reach people where they're at. And then on the other side of it is we really want to engage with the new council to sort of pull the curtain back and let them see more about how things are operating. Let them have forums to ask questions, whether one-on-one with department heads or in small groups. Because I truly believe that the more information we can give them, the more they can be a strong advocate for the city when they understand more. So when they get questions from people in the community, they can say, well, actually, this is what I've experienced. This is how this works versus, the perception or maybe misunderstanding about how things work because of where there's been a lack of communication and transparency.
When we take a look at the city of Hastings, especially the last couple years, lots of surveys that went out, whether they were surveys to just talk about is this communication being received, how is it being received, to communications that deal with the planning and dealing with the future. How does this office take that data and try to implement that will of the people?
Right. So it's a real kind of balancing act. Obviously we faced some challenges with the budget as we went through the process, this last year. Some of those challenges are still present. We have a new budget process that's going to be kicking off here in the near future. And so we have to manage that budget and make sure that we're keeping spending in line. Again, we have new council, so they have different visions about things, and so we're going to have some conversations about what they see. But we also have information from the citizens, and we went and asked them for things. So we have to find ways to try to balance the needs that are being presented from the community within the resources that we have available and the constraints of whatever the budget might look like. So I'll give an example. At the library, one of the things was to have the library open Sundays again. It used to be pre-COVID.
Yep.
Post-COVID, it has been closed because we didn't have the same resources that we had before. So how do we find a way to make Sundays happen without adding resources and staff, right? So I'm sure there are ways to do that, but what are we sacrificing to allow us to have Sundays? And is that worth it, right? So it's that balancing act of trying to find a happy medium to meet the needs of the community.
Do you have personal goals as you kind of step foot into this role as city administrator? Personal goals, things that you would like to see accomplished maybe in your first couple of years at the job?
Yeah, budget is a huge thing that's on my list. Obviously, I've talked about it a little bit here already. I really want to pull the curtain back on the budget process, get more council involvement earlier on in the process. You may have noticed that we have this State of the City. That was actually a council-driven initiative. And so we want to put together a process where they can kind of share their minds with us on the front end so that gives us a direction to start the budget process instead of halfway through and then all of a sudden we're having to pull things back, right? We're hopeful that that's going to be a positive move in the right direction. Other than that, as I mentioned, there's uncertainty anytime you have transitionary things. So we went through a lot in 2024. So I want to get to where, hopefully we can settle the waters a little bit, support staff, continue to develop and grow the programming that they want to do for lots of different areas, whether it's the museum or Parks and Rec or utility goals, whatever those things are. And continue my learning curve so that I can make sure that I can do this job to the best of my ability.
When we talk about uncertainty and we talk about budgets, some of that happening in the photo directly behind you at the state capitol. Right now, the state dealing with a projected budget shortfall. That could change on the next revenue numbers. It could get better. It could get worse. We're not sure. There's a lot of uncertainty surrounding that. I'm curious how much of our budget decisions are directly reflectant upon what's happening at the state in terms of what we can get for aid from the state. How much interaction do you have with our elected representatives?
So personally, I haven't had a ton with people outside of our local mayor and council. I know we have some reps that are pretty active in the community, and I intend to try to connect with them more in the future. We do, pay attention to all the things that are going on. Obviously, the special session last summer created some stress for municipalities because it was the focus of that is how to kind of rein in spending at the local level. So that's still on our radar because there's still, what does that look like kind of questions for us to make sure. So again, as we go through the budget, there's still some challenge and uncertainty. But yeah, we have to work with the state level because they will have a direct impact on what we're doing here locally.
What has been in this time since from assistant city administrator position to the interim tag to now taking on the role, maybe what has been the refreshing, pleasant surprises part of the job?
I think for me, probably the biggest thing is the technical and knowledge level of the staff that work for the city. We have a ton of really engaged, active employees that are working hard to do the best job they can to make sure that we provide really quality services for the citizens of Hastings. It's not really a stretch to say that having quality department heads has made my transition easier. We get a lot of questions from council, citizens, those kind of things, and to be able to pass those questions on to the specific departments who are experts in their field, get quick responses to be able to get information back, really helps that communication, that transparency piece that we talked about earlier. And it really comes from the fact that we really have a lot of quality folks that know what they're doing.
Anything that excites you moving forward here in 2025 as we flip the calendar to a new year?
Yeah, I'm just really excited to kind of get more ingrained in the community. It's a strange thing. I was gone for a year, but in some ways it feels like I was gone a month, and in other ways it feels like I was gone 10 years. And so really to just continue to re-engage with the community, to continue to push staff and the employees of the city to move forward to support the needs of the citizens. That's what I'm excited about.
City Administrator Mark Funke joining us this morning here on Huddle Up. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thanks for the opportunity. A pleasure to catch up with you again, and thanks for the opportunity to chat.
All right, good catching up with the City Administrator, Mark Funke. A little talk with him and see where we're heading city-wise, or dab our toes into the news scene every once in a while here on Huddle Up. Yeah, sports is our thing, but we want you to stay up to date on news, weather, and sports as you wake up with this show each and every day.
And good to catch up, especially with some of these positions as we've turned over a new election cycle. So we've got fresh faces, as you mentioned, on the council, even at the executive position as Jay Beckby has taken over the role as Hastings mayor. So we'll work our way into City Hall as the season progresses here, and we get closer to the spring season. We'll catch up with some new faces and continue those conversations about what their goals are here for the city of Hastings. So yeah, great to catch up.
All right. Again, tomorrow I'll be traveling with the Hastings College basketball team, so we will not be here tomorrow morning. I'll be on the road, so that zeroes out to this show. So we'll be back again on Monday morning at 7 a.m. Have yourself a good weekend, Tyson, and just remember, go Chiefs.
Go Bills.
We'll see you on Monday.
You've been listening to Huddle Up on Extreme Sports, Central Nebraska's new home for sports. Join us every weekday morning from 7